Hey everybody, Row of Gilead here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're dipping our toes back into DC Dark Legion. Now, this video is going to be 10 tips for beginning players. Now, this game is still technically in early access, though you can find it sometimes through the App Store whenever they have a new wave of signups and a new server available. There are also APKs that you can download out there on the interwebs that can get you into it, whether you're on Android or iOS. So if you're looking to try DC Dark Legion, I've been having a lot of fun with it. For those of you who might not have given it too deep of a dive yet, it's a weird hybrid of like Fallout Shelters, AFK Arena, and like a typical hero collector like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, Raid Shadow Legends, or Marvel Strike Force. So it's got a little bit of everything. So far in the early access, it's a little overwhelming. They're throwing a lot at us at once. And we've been told, or at least it's been highly implied, that there will not be a server reset because as they fill up servers by regions and stuff like that, you're going to be playing with the same people. They're not really going to be adding a lot of people to your server until they start getting a lot of attrition. So, these tips are going to be focusing on things that you should be doing as soon as you start playing, but they're not necessarily beginner tips. They're just good things to keep in mind. They're going to be always like just good rules of thumb to follow while you play DC Dark Legion. So let's jump in with the number one tip. This is easily the number one. The rest of these aren't really in any order. This is the number one tip here. We're not going to bury the lead here on my channel. The number one tip here is to focus specifically on one team to start. Now, for me, I focused on Justice League. They start you with Mira and as a healer and Green Arrow as an attacker. You get some other characters pretty quickly throughout the game. But the reason I say you should start with Justice League and you should only focus on the certain aspects of the team is because they have the most plug-and-play viability right now. There are many, many, many different Justice League characters. They far outstripe all the other teams with the exception of maybe Gotham City villains. But the nice thing about Justice League is that as you are working towards unlocking great characters like Superman and Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, you are going to unlock characters like The Flash, Batman, Wonder Woman's given to you, Green Arrow is given to you from the start, and you're going to get Cyborg. I was lucky enough to get Shazam. There's lots of Justice League characters out here. Black Canary has a Justice League tag. There's a lot of good ones out there. I was not able to be lucky enough to get Aquaman during his last run, but we've been assured that they're going to come along pretty regularly when the game goes full access. So there's just a lot of Justice League synergy out there, and to me, this was the most impactful team, mostly also because Green Lantern Hal Jordan is the best support character in the game, bar none. He's going to get his own video all about him. And not just because I'm a Green Lantern fan, because this man is fantastic. So we will touch on him more in another video, but the number one piece of advice when you start this game, it would be to start building one team and stick with it. You'll notice that some of my characters aren't, like I have Lex Luthor, he's clearly not Justice League tag that I built up, and that's because they have, similar to AFK Arena, in their training room, you can put characters in this auto level area that automatically brings them up to what your top 5 highest tunes are. So all these characters are sitting in my Nexus training area, okay? And that's going to get a video of its own going on down the line too. But for now, just know that it's super resource effective, especially if you're planning on being mostly free to play or completely free to play. Focus on one team. It should probably be Justice League because you'll get the most synergy out of it, and you will be able to push way, way farther in the game than somebody, even maybe a light spender who is spending on multiple teams. Moving on to number 2 on my list. The rest of these are in no particular order. I'm going to talk to you guys about the research and development part of this game that kind of plays into the Fallout Shelters. This is our base. But this research laboratory is very important for 2 reasons. One, you have construction-based research, which allows you to gain and save more resources in between logins. But you also have combat research. Now, I'm going to focus most of this discussion on the combat research because it kind of plays in some other tips you need to know. First and foremost, that's not it. Where's our fun T-Tech? So these T-Tech upgrades are super important. These allow you to upgrade your gear to higher levels, which gives them better stats. which allows your characters to hit harder. This game has a lot of progression systems. That's its own video as well. But just know that the gear for pushing your small team of characters farther is going to be super important. I have started with a balanced build, and honestly, it worked out pretty okay for me up until very, very recently. I am stuck on the 3rd T-Tech upgrade. Each one gives you +4, so this lets you take your gear to +8. And I'm waiting on this +12 upgrade. We need Wayne chips. So, and this is a lot. This is a large chunk of change here. And the same thing with the 4 million, but the gear is super worth it because even if your characters are under-leveled, you are able to push further in the campaign and beat missions you shouldn't if you have a good synergized team with the right gear on them. So, my second piece of advice, kind of balance your upgrades between gear and construction, but really push for those T-Tech upgrades before anything else, as long as it's feasible, because that gear is going to help you push way further in the game itself. Number 3, get yourself in a good league, guys. Every game you've played, if you've played a mobile game before, this is going to kind of sound like a no-brainer, but I'm assuming that there are going to be people that play this game just because it's a DC game and they're looking to do something fun and different, and DC hasn't put out anything fun and different in a while. We won't talk about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League at all. So, there's going to be a lot of people coming to this game for more of a casual experience, and I think it's important to know that even if you are not the most active, finding a league that is active and will have you is super important. First of all, leagues in this game get insane. Right now, we can go up to 140, and we still have upgrades that will give us more. So, leagues in this game are nice because even if you're not a super endgame player or a whale or whatever, as long as you are participating, most leagues will take you because it's still early access. Anyone who starts playing now or as early as you can is going to have a time advantage of resources and upgrades against people who are going to be starting at global launch. So, getting in a good league now is going to be huge. It's going to get you lots of free resources. It's going to be more fun to play the game because you'll actually have a team to work with for coordinated events. And if you don't want to be in a super talkative league, you don't have to be. Don't worry about it. But the more active you are and willing you are to get into things like Discord or just chat in the game, and really work with your league, you're going to have a lot more fun and you're going to get a lot better resources a lot faster. Number 4, and this is going to curtail us into another piece of advice here, you should be trying to log into this game 2 to 3 times a day, and mostly that's for 2 reasons. One, the basic stores specifically, but stores refresh a few times a day, so if you're logging in every 8 to 12 hours, you're going to catch at least 2 of these store refreshes. There's free mother boxes and stuff like that in here that allow you to upgrade characters and unlock things faster. And, also you're going to have to, especially early game when your resource manufacturing parts of your Batcave aren't upgraded all the way, you're going to need to log in a few times to make sure that you're not capped out. So this way you can keep gaining resources over time, allowing you to upgrade your characters faster. Let's bring that one to our next piece of advice, which is don't buy gear or mother boxes, especially if you're a free-to-play player. If you are a spender, the world fragments, the source wall fragments, those things let you summon characters that are more targeted. And that is, if you're going to be spending, that's okay. These world anvil fragments, the source wall fragments are how you pull for characters. The source wall is the characters that are always around. The world anvil fragments are characters that are limited time, or they're on like a set time window. They come around every so often. So the gold ones are definitely rarer, but it's nice that they cost the same. So, spending these is kind of a necessity in the game as you get them, because you're going to want to get new characters and stuff. But you're not going to see as much value from opening these energy keys. They're supposed to be mother boxes, I'm fairly certain. That's similar concept. But these are going to give you character shards and resources, but they're not going to give you 350 energy thingies worth of resources. This, on the other hand, this could be a 5-star character. You could put in 160 of these energy cores and get Batman, versus this, where you could put in 350 and get 10 shards of a very common character at best. So, don't buy these if from the store. Don't worry about them. What you should look into purchasing, though, we'll come back to that. Also, don't buy this gear. This gear, you're going to blow past purple gear so quick, especially if you unlock the upgrades and stuff and you're only focusing on one team. None of this gear is going to be worth your time to buy. So that's the next tip, is don't buy gear unless you get to red gear. Now, red gear so far is the max level that we've been able to access in the early access version of the game. It is like your legendary top tier stuff. It's farmable, which is nice. But what that means is you don't want to waste your resources buying gear. You want to spend and save up to get shards for Shazam here. You know, you don't just want to be throwing that away willy-nilly, all right? So don't buy gear here. I would even warn not to buy the components right away, because until you have enough vehicles to be worth upgrading, they're not super useful. All right, gang, let's see what's next on our list. We talked about only upgrading red gear. We talked about only buying red gear. All right, so we are almost done. There's 3 left. You want to always be on patrol. Now, I'm not on patrol right now because there's an event coming up in the next 7-8 hours that requires me to have my ships free. However, city patrols are huge. They're going to get you resources per hour. Different cities give you different resources. So if we come over to here to like El Paso and we look at it, we'll see... oh, it didn't do the right thing. But you'll see that it gives us different focus on resources versus being here in St. Roach. There we go. So like this one gives you more money and more of a balanced thing. But if you come over here, this one gives you more Wayne Steel over time. This one gives you like more chips than this one. So like they all have their strengths and weaknesses, so you got to kind of farm for what you're looking for. But sometimes you won't have ships available because like we're going to do checkmate in a few hours, so we want to make sure we have it available. So yeah, we don't have anything oh wait, you know, maybe we can. Let's see. I'm still learning the game as I go here sometimes too, so let's see if it'll let us double dip that ship. I hope it does. That'd be really nice. We've learned an 11th secret tip while watching this video today. All right. Okay. All right. So you can send them out, and I believe it won't mess with the checkmate. It will mess with things like Umbral Rift, though. So you should always be patrolling for the items you want, but be mindful that you might need your ships for Umbral Rift and different events, so be willing to recall them. Last couple tips here. You should push your campaign. Now, I can't show you the campaign because I finished the campaign, but pushing the campaign is going to get you better gear faster than just kind of grinding your way through maps. You should be trying to unlock all of the different side zones and missions. To give you all an example, if we go to Themyscira here, you know, Themyscira, you've been in the main area at this point in the game, but all these side areas, we cleared this one, so unfortunately I can't show you, but I don't have any open areas left to farm. Oh, maybe we didn't clear this one. No, we cleared this one. But there are different battles and things you can do in here. Different little hideout raids is what they're called. And when you complete them, you get the energy keys / mother boxes, however you want to think of them. And again, those are going to be super important for helping build your roster. You just don't ever want to spend your in-game currency on them if you can avoid it. And then lastly, and this might seem counterintuitive, but I'm going to explain to you why it's not. You always want to make sure you're using your drones. Now, drones in other games are things you have to buy to like speed up the time on your projects. But the cool thing about drones in this game is the higher you build up your drone manufactory here, the more drones you can hold and the faster they'll regenerate. And there are ways to give bonuses to this production time by putting certain heroes in this room. So if you're sitting on a bunch of drones and you're not using them because, oh, I need to save them for this project, I don't know if I would do that, friends, because you can use them and they replenish every, over time, depending on what your level is. And then last, but certainly not least, and this is a pretty big one, you want to make sure that you're always building 2 things at once. Now, you might say, Ro, I'm a free-to-play player. I can't build 2 things at once. I'm here to tell you why you're wrong. You can absolutely build 2 things at once because as long as one of them is your war room you will always be able to build a second project. So right now we've got our war room going up. We got a couple hours left to get to level 24. And we have our raid chips going up because we need those for our next gear enhancement. So it is technically possible to build 2 buildings at once, as long as one of them is your war room. They would make you think that you'd have to come here to Perks and buy... Where is it hiding on us? I thought it was in here somewhere. They have a... Is it the Gift of the Source? Source Energy Gems. They have an offer where you can buy extra build time. Oh, what am I doing? I'm a big silly, guys. I should just click on something and try to upgrade it. Yeah, unlock a second queue to start, and then that's this Gift of the Source. That's what it's called. So you get an extra queue for 30 days. But, and this is very important, you do not have to buy this to do what I'm doing. As long as you are, one of your upgrades that you're working on and that's going is your war room, you can always upgrade another room at the same time. And you can always do research at the same time. So it's very important to make sure that you're not ever just sitting around having your rooms do nothing, right? If you have maxed out stuff, or like in my case, I'm saving for a bunch of resources, but especially when you're starting, make sure you're building stuff with your research lab. Make sure you're grinding out all your gear from your armory. You know, just make sure you're using all that stuff. So this went from being a 10-tip video to I'm going to have to go back and recount it at the end to see how many tips we actually made it through. But this is some of the most important stuff to help make sure that you enjoy your time in DC Dark Legion and that you're pushing as far as you can, as fast as you can. And again, these things are all free-to-play friendly tips. There's not a thing in here that I've mentioned that you need to spend on to use to succeed. But just know that if you are spending, all of these tips are only going to amplify how far you can get with the money you spend in DC Dark Legion. So, this brings us to the end of the video, friends. If you had a great time, please make sure you like and subscribe. Share this with your other DC Dark Legion friends. Share this with your league. If you've got a lot of newbies looking for, you know, ways to up their game and catch up with you all faster without spending so much. If you learned something from here that maybe you didn't know and you've been playing the game since the, early access started, drop it in the comments down below. And if you can think of more tips for beginners and newer players that I've missed, drop them in the comments. I'm always happy to pin the most useful advice. And if I see that there's enough of it there to warrant another video, well, we'll do another video. But alrighty, friends, thanks again for stopping out. That's all for today. Long days, pleasant nights, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.